Today, this morning, Russians declared that they have cut off Bakhmut. This information is translated by Dmitry. If I look at my Ukrainian sources, that is not the case. Russians have declared that they have captured some villages, cities or strong points many times and they still haven't done it. Prigozhin is very famous for it. He likes to claim he has captured something well before he has done it. I think he has claimed that Bakhmut will be captured in about 2 weeks for about 4 or 5 times in the past year. Without empty claims, it wouldn't be Russia, so let's take it like it is. The military blogger Noel actually gives us a great overview of what's going on in Bakhmut. His link is in the description below. Russians control all areas east of the train station. Fighting is now going on around the train station and train tracks. The recent information says that in some areas Russians have crossed the train tracks. Ukrainians hold about 25% of Bakhmut right now. Russians hold about 75%. Very slowly Ukrainians are pulling out and Russians are pushing forward with incredibly huge losses. If Bakhmut's goal for Ukrainians is to lessen the Russian ability to strike, to be offensive, to be aggressive, then Bakhmut has fulfilled that goal. About half of the casualties, KIAs on the Russian side, total at all, have come from Bakhmut. So Bakhmut is responsible for lessening the Russian offensive capabilities the most, achieving its goal for the upcoming Ukrainian counteroffensive, where Russia is exactly where Ukraine wants it, depleted. I've read some interviews from the soldiers from Bakhmut and they say urban warfare is the worst kind of warfare there is. It's the most difficult one, and fighting is happening like in Stalingrad, room by room, floor by floor, street by street. One soldier said that taking a Panelka or Khrushchevka, that is a Russian style apartment building, might take 24 hours of continuous fighting. 24 hours, room by room they have to clean. One floor might take up to 5 hours to clean. Room by room they're cleaning. Sometimes in one room there is Ukrainians and then in the next one there is Russians, and they hear each other and both sides are claiming the area with teeth and nails. It is very casualty heavy. The same soldier claimed that if they attack a building, sometimes they don't lose any troops, sometimes they lose 1 or 2, but Russians always lose 7 or 8 troops. That gives us a casualty rating of every 1 Ukrainian, 5 Russians KIA. And it seems reasonable for me. The attacking side is 3-1. In Russian case, it's losing 5-1. I can believe it. A few days ago, Dmitry translated an update from 127th Territorial Defense Brigade, a soldier in Bakhmut. Let's watch the video.
Slava Ukraini. Сьогодні 18 квітня 23-го року. Ми перебуваємо в місті фортеця Бахмут. Сили оборони Бахмуту роблять все можливе і неможливе для того, аби фортеця стояла. Ворог сьогодні ніби сказився, навалу хвилю за хвилею запускає групи для штурмів.
We're going to talk about later about these assault groups. We have a video that recently leaked from a Russian soldier in Bakhmut. There is 3 lines there, right? And the back line is, you know, the NKVD. They don't call it that, but they do the task of shooting those who retreat. And we have an order in the walkie-talkie coming through that shoot the retreaters. We're going to watch that video later. So I guess this is what he's talking about. The Russians have gone mad.
Сили оборони Бахмуту героїчно відбивають навалу за навалою, захищаючи кожен метр нашої української землі в місті фортеці Бахмут. Ворог застосовує армійську авіацію, застосовує РСЗВ, застосовує артилерію, танки та інші види озброєння. Але наші...
For the past about 2 to 3 months in Bakhmut, Russians are using the designed forces, VDV in Russian, Designniks. These are kind of elite forces in Russia. They are not regular infantry. They are one of the best trained troops Russia has, and they lost a lot of them while attacking Kiev, but they have some left. And Igor Kirkin and some other Russian military bloggers are very mad at the Ministry of Defense for using these special trained forces. The training takes a lot of time, it's very expensive, and they're using these forces as plain meat infantry, just sending without any tanks or infantry fighting vehicles, just sending them as light infantry. In the Western standard, this would be called wasting your forces. And the Ukrainians have commented the same thing, that they can feel it. They can feel the Russian Designniks, VDV units, they know how to fight. They fight differently in Bakhmut and they know how to do urban warfare, fighting against these forces. You can feel you're against a different enemy. It's not a prisoner from Wagner. It is not a Mobic or mobilized. It is a specially trained Russian elite unit without armored support. They're still deadly. but they're being wasted.
Хлопці та дівчата мужньо стоять і виконують свій обов'язок. Фортеця Бахмут стоїть. Слава Україні!
Heroям Slava. There is also a change in the past 2 to 3 weeks in the Russian aviation of how they attack the Ukrainian positions. In the fall of 2022 and in the beginning of 2023, Russia had these huge rocket and missile attacks against the Ukrainian civilian infrastructure, trying to knock out the civilian power to resist the Russian invasion. This didn't work. The change has happened. Now they don't target the civilian infrastructure only, they also target military targets, which is so weird to have to especially say that they're targeting military positions because they didn't do it before. It was a normalcy for the Russian army to attack civilians. It's not the case anymore. Now with the Ukrainian heavy information operation about the upcoming counter-offensive, Russians are afraid and panicking, and they are striking actually Ukrainian military facilities and targets now, units, tanks, infantry fighting vehicles. This shows us the change in their mindset. They're afraid. For example, yesterday Russia shot out 10 or 12 Shahed drones. Different sources give different information, and Ukraine was able to shoot down 8 of them. Shaheds are very easy to counter. You can shoot them down with old school anti-aircraft cannons. You don't need missiles to take them down. You can use very cheap means because you hear them coming and they're slow. These Shaheds are targeting also military installations now, which is new for the Russian aviation. The first Patriot system has arrived in Ukraine, as well as the first Iris-T anti-air system. Both of these systems are extremely good and efficient, but with one of each you don't do much. Ukraine needs to defend a huge area, and now they're only to cover their biggest cities. As a symbol, Patron and Iris-T, very good, but for them to be effective, Ukraine would need tens of those systems. And the biggest issue is S-300. They don't have a big range, about 100 kilometers. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. But Russia has a lot of S-300 missiles, and they're anti-air missiles, but Russia uses them to bombard Ukrainian frontline cities, mainly Kharkiv and Kherson. These missiles are extremely difficult to shoot down, if not impossible as of now. I mean, West has these capabilities, but Ukraine doesn't. Russia, by far, has been able to bombard with S-300 missiles with impunity. All Ukraine has been able to do is to destroy these missile systems when locating them, and they have been doing that as much as they can. Talking about a Russian anti-aircraft system, this is a Russian S-400, so one of the newer ones and a very expensive one. It's in Russia, and according to onlookers, this S-400 rolled over, crashed outside of the road because the driver was hammered, pissed out, drunk. I mean, the honest fact is that alcoholism and corruption do more damage to the Russian armed forces than Ukraine could. Russians are their worst enemies. There was a large explosion in Belgorod, a big Russian city only about 35 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. It is said that this was a genius Russian plan. See, it was supposedly done by a Russian Su-34 bomber. It was a plane bomb that fell in Belgorod. And the genius plan, according to the Russian mindset, I'm trying to think is, Ukrainians cannot bomb us if we bomb us first. Genius, Ivan, давай, let's go, поехали, release the bombs. And when I say supposedly it was a Russian Su-34, I mean that it was claimed by Russian Ministry of Defense that it was their own Su-34 who bombed their own city. Genius. Next video we're going to watch is Putin talking, and much more than what he has to say. He doesn't really have to say anything good. I want to guide your attention to how he physically holds himself up.
Этот тренд, о котором вам сказали, тенденция в мире к многополярности, она неизбежна. Он будет только усиливаться.
Check this out. Check out his right, left. He's facing me. Right. His right hand. I'm very bad at like saying which hand it is if he's facing me. Okay, this hand right here is clutching the table. We have seen this before. A person sits down, right? You sit down comfortably. You don't need to do this, but you don't need to clutch the table. But we have seen Putin doing this for a few months, half a year, when he holds his meetings with the defense minister, Shoigu, or with Kadyrov. He's clutching the table and sinking in the chair, maybe to keep his hand from trembling. Now, I don't want to become one of those channels who overanalyzes every last Putin's action and says that, oh, he has cancer, he has all of these diseases. I don't know. But he's clutching the table. It's very suspicious. And in the last video, we watched how Putin spoke 20 years ago, with energy, passion, spoke fast, looked completely different, and had power in his voice. Now we see this old man who is spent out and clutching the table.
И те, кто это не поймут, и не будут следовать в этом тренде, будут проигрывать. Это факт абсолютно очевидный. Это так же очевидно, как подъем солнца. Здесь с этим ничего не поделать. Те, кто пытаются воспрепятствовать этому, они только столкнутся с дополнительными проблемами, которых у них и так хватает. Ну, бог с ними. Мы идем своей дорогой и демонстрируем хорошие результаты. Наша задача в том, чтобы...
It's so much like the Soviet. He's going right back into the Soviet time. The talk is very empty. It's filled with these, oh, we're building something great, we're on the right path. The country is screwed, like in the Soviet times. Everybody was poor, nobody had nothing. But the leaders were always talking how we're so much better than the Americans and we're doing things right and we are on this holy right path. Putin is talking the same way. Russia is going on a downward spiral right now. Even the ruble is going down. And the leader is talking how we're showing good results. More and more disconnected from the reality. The authorities in St. Petersburg have started to send out electronic conscription letters. In the last video we mentioned that Russia has changed the way they mobilized their population. Before they didn't have an electronic database of military-age males. Now they do have that. Spring conscription is starting. Every year about 100,000 Russian conscripts are called to serve. Putin does need another mobilization, but there's one way out of it. He could also use the conscripts, and this is what he's doing right now. The trenches I've showed a few videos ago, dug in Crimea, we have information that they are being filled right now with conscripts. So Putin is using conscripts right now already to actively fill the defensive positions. And since Russia has a lot of those conscripts, there's a lot of manpower there. So maybe he doesn't need to declare a mobilization. The truth is he needs more men, so he'll just take the conscripts. And it's getting harder and harder in Russia to avoid conscription, to avoid your service. Now we have come to the video when we can hear the command coming through the Russian walkie-talkie in Bakhmut. And it's something else. It goes back to the NKVD times.
Тихо!
Убивать, сука! Задней не будет, пацаны, идем только вперед! Либо мы сейчас начнем воевать и уебем их, либо, блядь, мы умрем, нахуй! Так что выбирайте сами, как вы хотите жить, блядь! Либо мы живем, блядь, либо мы гнием в могиле, как приняли меня!
If anyone retreats, kill them, that's the order. And he also says that we don't have an option. Either we start fighting now and win this battle, or we'll all die. They don't have an option to go back to Russia or to retreat. They have an option, victory or death, as you can see, as we all saw from the movie Enemy at the Gates, which is a Hollywood depiction of the Stalingrad battle. A very inadequate depiction, but still victory or death. He said it right now, not one step backwards. It's becoming to be true again. But it doesn't work with Russia because Soviet Union had immensely more manpower than Russia has. Russia and Soviet Union cannot even be compared. Their capabilities, military-wise, population-wise, money-wise, they're so different. These two countries, entities, they're not comparable. Soviet Union was a world power. Russia is not. Now we watch a video of Zelenskyy being in Avdiivka. Avdiivka is a frontline city, and Zelenskyy has shown before that he is willing to visit these frontline cities, putting his life in danger. He might die there any second. And his death, according to CIA, is one of the outcomes that will change this war very fast and immediately. And Zelenskyy is still doing it. Very heroic action by him.
По шеврони 110-ї бригади, дивимося ваше звернення.
Так, я встав вже збиратися.
І коїн.
Дякую.
Служу українському народу. Служу українському народу та морській піхоті.
Все нормально, Євген. Вітаю вас.
Вітаю.
Дякую. Дуже приємно всіх вас бачити і тиснути такі міцні руки. Знаєте, що в всіх руках реальне життя всього майбутнього України. Пишаюсь зустрічю, пишаюсь тим, що у нас в Україні є такі міцні люди. Все завдяки вам. Тож тримайтесь і бережіть себе. Від вас залежить наше майбутнє.
Good old Zelenskyy being heroic again and putting himself in danger. I mean, visiting these frontline cities wherever you are, a random shell might fall on you because Russians just shell these cities. Zelenskyy takes that risk. He gets points from me by doing that. I also want to share the fact that I got a medal from the 24th Brigade of Ukraine. Ragnar Zeiss brought it to me. He went to Kiev with his convoy to give away cars, and they gave the medal because a few of the cars were bought by you guys. So this medal is actually for you. Here's the video.
Basically, here is one thing. 24 Brigade actually was so thankful for the help that Artur, Rehi and community has done. So they asked to send basically a special medal by 24 Brigade, especially for Artur. But not only that, this car, but all of the things that he has done to talking and informing all the world about Ukraine war. And they personally ask, I should thank you, to have a handshake, and you're going to have it, something very unique from Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
A high-energy acoustic event happened in Kiev. A cosmic body entered the Kievan airspace and disintegrated. Kiev military administration says that according to their data, it's a NASA satellite which crashed to the Earth to Ukraine to Kiev location. NASA did announced earlier that the satellite was scheduled to fall that time, but the memes that came out of it, I mean, we have a few videos, but Ukrainians made so many memes that the aliens are coming and they're on Ukrainian side, and now Russians gonna get it, and aliens are gonna probe the Russians. You know where they probe you? They're gonna probe the Russians there. Oh my god, the Ukrainians are such meme lords. I love it. Keep it on, my friends. Estonia, my country, has approved another military aid packet to Ukraine. We're a small country, we don't have much of the military capability compared to European or America, but what we give has more value because we don't have anything to give, and we're giving the thing Ukraine needs the most. It is 155mm artillery rounds. For the upcoming counter-offensive, if you ask me, what do they need the most? They have the tanks now, they have strikers, they have infantry fighting vehicles, weapons, everything. They need artillery rounds. Ukraine would be able to shoot out in one day more rounds that some European countries have for their entire year. This is how much they need rounds. Estonia is giving. I do hope other European countries follow suit. And talking about upcoming counteroffensive, here is the newly formulated Ukrainian 82nd Air Assault Brigade practicing with strikers in a Ukrainian training field. These troops will be used, their military operation I guess will be to take part in the upcoming counteroffensive, breaking through the Russian lines, sowing panic, driving deep into enemy's rear, like the aliens who are gonna drive deep into Russia's rear. Okay, I should stop. I'm sorry, my friends. Thank you, my friends, for coming back time and time again. I hope you enjoy my humor, because if you don't, then I'm screwed, because I have this humor and I have to use it to give you this military information. If you like my channel, please become a patron. It's the fastest and most efficient way to support my channel. Links in the description below. Until my next video, my friends. Slava Ukraini.